This is like the 9th time I'm recording this. What does memory foam, Pokemon games, and my penis all have in common? Well, they never get hard. Now that I have your attention though, I'm going to review every single mainline Pokemon game. Eventually. First we start at the start, with the good old classic. Pokemon Black and White. Pokemon Red and Blue actively makes me suicidal. And I'm super excited when I get the Pokemon Sword and Shield, which I have played twice already, and I do not remember a single thing. I call that bad storytelling. The doctor calls it early onset dementia. This is the part where I mention something political to keep your attention, as I slowly transition to the next section. Besides the fact that this is making me thirsty for some Black and White whiskey, 700 milliliters on Amazon. I do want to mention I have zero affiliation with this whiskey. It just appeared when I googled Black and White while writing a joke for this section. I think Black and White is a pretty good game. It deserves the praise it gets as the debatable best Pokemon game in the series. Is it the best Pokemon game ever, though? No. No, it's not, because that title belongs to Snake King, the Burger King sponsored game for the Xbox 360. I also started recording the video when I got the idea for this video all on my own, with no YouTube videos, channels, or anything of the sort inspiring me to make this video at all. Absolutely nobody. So I will speed past what I've done so far. Yeah, no need to thank me, I'm just doing my part as a Canadian citizen of America. You see, it's a contradiction, so that's funny. You start off by picking your starter. Like every other Pokemon game, you see 3 simple options. One is correct, one is less correct, but still acceptable. And the last one you pick if you have a little brain damage, sniff glue, and enjoy playing. Bruh. Guess what starter I chose? Pokemon games have always had exploring down. The path is a little linear, but it's not a set path. You head over to your first gym. The gym is a tutorial disguised as a gym, and it makes my 3 functioning brain cells actually work. Me likey. I prefer tutorials like this because the game never holds your hand like I'm in a Walmart and it doesn't want me getting lost in the toys aisle. No! None of that baby shit. The only time buttons are mentioned is when they are applicable later on, such as when your mother just randomly tells you if you press B, you go fast after she gives you the running shoes. I found this kind of funny and charming, and I think that doing this is a lot better than a toolbar coming down reminding you to take your meds, all this is a dream, wake up, we miss you. The gym leader has 3 variations, picking one to counter starter Pokemon. This forces you to catch other Pokemon and also makes stat checking the gym a lot harder because you have little things to level your Pokemon off of. It's not going to be a fun experience. Well, I mean, you can level your Pokemon, but who enjoys watching your experience points go up by 10s when you need thousands? Like, that's so... I stat check the gym leader. Most other Pokemon games don't have a system based off of Pokemon knowledge and instead have some kind of mini-game or of the player walking around to find the gym leader, like I'm playing Home Makeover 2 Hidden Objects and I just really need to find my hairdryer. This is a great experience. Good job, Nintendo. And on top of that, diluted HCl, also called muriatic acid, can be obtained from hardware stores. NaOH, also called liethyl ether, aka diethyl ether, can be obtained from engine starting fluid, usually from a large... That's not me referencing how to make meth instead of come up with an actual funny joke. The second gym is a scavenger hunt. You find these books using information you know about the game up to this point. Again, few other Pokemon games have gyms based on learnable knowledge about the Pokemon universe. It's so simple and such an incredibly helpful tool to new players to the series. This actually forces you to learn about the world of Pokemon in a reasonable and digestible way. The gym is a normal type gym, which I didn't know existed, very cool, and I also had zero trouble with my Rodent Pig starter being its one and only counter. The only way I can describe how screwed it was is by you giving me your credit card and its PIN. Not good. The third gym was the bug type gym, and it was so cool because these evil dudes called Team Lead Paint show up, and they do. You see, the joke there is that they do nothing. We find the gym leader. Pignite, my starter, counters it, so it's kind of a breeze. On a side note, because they're mostly caught up now, why is Tipig hated so much? He counted as 2 of the early game gyms, turning it from an okay challenge to the brain power needed to watch any channel on YouTube Kids.
I've made a severe...
Okay, I thought that was important to leave in. I played the game a bit more after I wrote that, and you'll find out how young and foolish I was to not listen to literally everybody who told me not to pick that stupid ass start. Planning on picking Pokemon, and you really like having a rope around your neck? And you found your starter. Okay kids, let's learn about Team Pickle. They are the main antagonists of this game, and I'll talk about them more as we go along, but they are a highlight of this game, because in every other Pokemon game, their team's reasoning is Haha, I'm a bad guy. I do bad things like installing Fortnite on your Xbox to make you look like a virgin. Ha 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 ha, etc, etc. The leader of Team Paradise can understand Pokemon, which is an uncommon ability, apparently. And most Pokemon do not like being kept in cages like beasts. Most trainers are not like us, where we only hit our Pokemon once a week, and they do it twice a week. Savages. His goal is to make all Pokemon free, which is an understandable motivator and makes sense. Team Poopfort is in more of a gray area than a directly evil area, which makes it possible to sympathize with the team instead of viewing them as direct opposition. Good job, Nintendo. Gym 4, the electric type gym, is set in a roller coaster. My favorite part is how I get jumped every time I leave the roller coaster. What kind of Disney World has you get on a ride? Enjoy it. Experience it. Revel in the moment. Just get jumped like you accidentally went to Chicago for 3 seconds. Have I mentioned I failed kindergarten? Anyway, I was like 40 levels higher than her Pokemon, so I beat her silly. On my 3rd attempt.
Yeah, no, this should be an easy win. I survived this.
Uh-oh.
Zebstrika, her main Pokemon, would have won her the battle if she was this many levels higher. And honestly, I'm thinking about playing a harder game right now.
Yeah, I know I was gonna live that whole time. You're trash, kid. Go play Fortnite.
She then takes us to a bridge and lowers it, but not before one of our rivals appears to challenge us. I asked them a very simple question. Is level 34 higher than 24? The champion of the region brings us to some Fortnite. They're having fun kicking around a ball or something, you know, being kids enjoying themselves, living life and having fun. I whoop their asses. They cried. The bridge is lowered and I go across and capture my first flying Pokemon that I actually intend on keeping. Hopefully with this, when I get to Pokemon Sword and Shield, I can fly to a better game. We then meet Clay. Dude, I love Clay. Clay has a cowboy hat and speaks with more slang than my favorite rapper, Tyler the Deconstructor. Clay is weirdly lovable. Team Pencil is in the freezer, so that's what we gotta game end them. And we do game end them. We game end them so hard, Clay shows up out of nowhere just to put him in jail. He then gives us one of the biggest "you are incredibly mediocre" speeches. He really is just like my dad. I then spend the next 30 minutes completely lost, going in the wrong direction and showing everybody watching another example of my supreme brain damage. I don't think I have longer than a week.
Beans. This is so stupid.
I mean, the only upside is that Pignite evolved into Emperor. Very cool, very nice. Nothing's changed. Wait, look, something has happened. This is something I jumped out of my chair for. Guys, look, I found Pokemon number 590. Fungus in a Pokeball lying on the ground. Why is Fungus so important? Well, Fungus is not, but its evolution is. Pokemon number 591. Among Us. The best Pokemon in the game. Yes, this entire bit was all for our Among Us joke in 2022. You're welcome. Eventually, after realizing I spent the last 30 minutes doing nothing productive,
I've done nothing productive.
I decided to do something productive by finding Clay's gym and telling him we're only going to have 200 mats for our 1v1. I must have at least 4 Fortnite references so I can put Fortnite in the tag and get those sick views. I love children dictating my content. Clay's gym mechanic is elevators, and these elevators look like elevators, act like elevators, but are secretly portals to hell. This is not by design. This is a linear path that has trainers to guide you. And I got lost. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. I got lost in one of the most linear sections in the game. Good job, Brain.
Do you ever look at someone and wonder what is going on inside their head?
I thought the part of the elevator doors opening was really cool. Up to that point, the most motion we had from an inanimate object was a 3-frame animation of a door opening that I can make in Blender in 30 seconds. This is so simple, yet such a nice touch. Something about me beating Clay, time to continue. The next area is a cave, which I get lost in multiple times, but using my gigantic sized brain, which I'm not trying to flex, but the swelling could kill me in a couple months. Oh right, back in the cave. Guess who we find? Team Paleontologist. And now we can go into our next gym. Very cool, very nice. The gym leader's on vacation, so we can't battle her yet. Very sad, not cool. Sad face. Now we go to a Pokemon graveyard. And if she doesn't come back quickly, this won't be just a Pokemon grave. Yes, that was me threatening to kill her. Why should a graveyard of all places? Like, there's this cool ass looking airport that they just plopped her in. It would have made more sense. It would have been way more interesting. But Game Freak has to make ghost Pokemon exist. Speaking of ghost Pokemon, we get to learn about some type matchups. Woo! My Emboar is a fighting type Pokemon. I want to mention generally type matchups, being used on the same Pokemon, do half damage. This is very important information for now and later. And on top of this poop pie, the most common Pokemon here is a Litwick. And besides having a sick design that I really like, is a ghost and fire type. Think I'm starting to see why Tepig was a bad choice, but not yet, not yet. We finally get to the top and talk to the gym leader. Tell her if she doesn't come down, I will count to 3. She then comes down. Favorite part is that the game does not teleport us down.
This is a bug, right? I should be down as soon as. No.
I felt like a war veteran. I also thought my Pokemon would have OD'd from the number of super potions they received. I'm so excited to fight the flying type gym because I might actually have the strategy, skill, and not just stat check the enemy gym. Using my knowledge, maybe this is where the game's difficulty picks up, becomes to be. Bit of a check. The answer was no. We go and traverse a very vast landscape, and then our mom calls us to congratulate us in a very condescending way. We continue our journey, and you will not guess what happens next. This is something completely original. Okay? Guess what? We win the lot! We stop our rival again. Wow, you just want to test to see if you could beat us for the 6th time now. Wow, I bet you've improved so much in the last 3 minutes. The champion was also here. I guess he just likes watching children fight. Kinda weird. The next part is in a cave, which I despise. I think I'll just leave it at that. If you like cave sections, you belong here. This gym is ice. I did notice the arrow that shows where you're supposed to go. But that's just the tip of this brain damage ice. I then spent the next 30 minutes exploring, thinking that I'm missing something. Yes, I was actually. It was a couple of screws. I wasn't too far ahead, but my Pokemon countered it, so it's easy peasy. Also, it wasn't 30 minutes screwing around. It was an hour. Here's where I think the story starts to pick up. The focus starts to shift from look at these shiny badges to look at these people who are part of an organization who are currently gaming on us, and our last defense is a 9-year-old child. The direction of the next couple hours of gameplay becomes less predictable when you do this shift. There was this tower that was mentioned. I just didn't care about it. But look, Team Payday is here. We didn't climb the tower like a toddler climbing for its baby food that I'm not giving it. We get to the top, and N has awakened the legendary Pokemon.
Is that the white imposter from Among Us?
That's God. Why is he writing God? Why is God being written? Why can't my penis get hard? There's so many questions that will never be answered. He doesn't want to kill us just yet. He's toying with us. So he really is just like a god. A reason I continue to play the game is obviously not because of the challenge. Yet. I think Game Freak is using Eldritch Magic on their Pokemon series because there's no way that this much charm is organic. When your main villain, who has a reasonable idea, is challenging you to catch up with him, power-wise, it's so exciting because when you eventually fight him, it's a lot better than the cliche of him going, you're not worth me killing because I really need this plot to progress, and if I kill you now, and win, the plot doesn't take a very convoluted path to eventually end with me losing and some last remark about how I underestimated you or something. This game isn't red and blue, good and evil, or black and white. You see what it did there? It's working in grays, and I like that. A great example of this in-game is how the Pokemon Reshiram is the Pokemon that helps those who seek a world full of truth, and Zekrom is for those who seek ideals. When there's no distinctly good or bad characters, it makes the hero feel less like a hero and more like a person, or in some cases even a villain, because real life isn't absolute. Speaking of things I like, the next section, I did not. We then traveled to a previous area, and then Team something that starts with a P is also there for some reason. That was explained. I just don't care enough to read that stupid info dump. This area is so slow and just destroys the hype I got from being challenged by Ed. It saw my excitement, invited it to a back alleyway, and stomped on it like a balancing castle. This was the least 20 minutes of fun I've had in the entire game. This part was designed by some devil at Nintendo that wasn't trying to make a game, but a sanity tester. This joke is getting old. Team Petrified gives a speech in Times Square. Now, for the grand finale, you have the last gym. Gym 8, the Dragon Gym. The gym is a puzzle-ish, requiring common sense and 6 brain cells, 2 things I'm very much lacking in. This, for me, was a definition of a love-hate relationship. On one hand, I think this is the most original and cool design in the game yet. The dragons being walkways, little details in the background, just small design elements to make this area feel alive. On the other hand, this is the closest I've got to googling a speedrun just so I can get this TDS level over with. I want this to be understood. I think this level is incredibly cool, but the tedium, it makes you do this, and then do it 5 more times, and then 5 more times, while being stopped by trainers. It's so boring, awful pacing, and unenjoyable. However, Even though I was 10 levels above where I should have been, the dream fight with Iris was challenging. If you couldn't guess how I beat her by now, then I think that's a bit of an issue. This was the first fight I actually used a tiny bit of strategy on. I think that's a good sign, after I spent like a fourth of my money on super potions. The next part is all building up to the Elite Four. The Elite Four are 7 people in the Pokemon games that are like Sans from Undertale. If you stop at Sans, you beat the majority of the game, but if you want that sweet 100%, and those delectable monster tiers, you gotta beat Sans to see what happens next. If there is more, then I must complete it. We're now back at that godforsaken mountain, except this one is shorter, and doesn't have the same Pokemon appearance every encounter. Very nice. The trainers here are semi-challenging. This is the part where the game's difficulty starts spiking. The cutscene upon entering is cool, the design is cool, the aesthetic is cool. I have no criticisms yet. Let's talk. Remember earlier in the video where I mentioned something along the lines of, why is Tipik hated so much? And I made an unfunny joke about how easy he makes the game. Why is Tipik hated so much? He kinda has two. All of that's true, but he turns the late game into a nightmare. Let's talk about matchups again. Oh, I love this part. The Elite Four's Pokemon types are Ghost, Fighting, Psychic, and Dark. Ghost and Psychic both counter Embor's fighting type. Went from using the brain power needed to watch a Logan Paul video to an episode of Salad Fingers. My roided pig was not so roided anymore. Actually, he was quite unroided at this point. I fought them 4 times trying to brute force my way to a lucky victory with a little strategy I call RNG. Just to get wiped every time I tried. I then walked around a little bit, thought about how if stat checking doesn't work, then what's left? There's nothing. The world's become empty and dark. There's always this one last option looming over me. Had I fallen this far? Had I been left with no other options? I decided that maybe it was time to do strategy. But before I even decided to act upon that, I had an epiphany. If I can't stat check them, and if RNG doesn't work, then why don't I just stat check them harder? So I began my grind, my journey of gaining 10 experience points when I need 10,000 to level up once. It was hard, and a lot of thinking should have been involved, but it was not. Okay, another sidetrack. I'm so sorry, not really. I should to make sure that more people knew about Sneak King, the game for the Xbox 360 available at select Burger King restaurants that opt in. I just really need people to know about this. And then I fought the Ghost type member. For the first time in my entire time of playing this game, I developed a strategy that was not just stat checking. It was mostly stat checking. It's super simple, right? Spear on the first 2 Pokemon with Ember, hope that he one-shots them faster than he gets one-shots. Bring out my Evolved Ducklet. Speedrun with its water type moves, hope I don't get one-shot, and then stat check with Ember until I win. The next one was the Dark type gym, which I didn't know at the time that fighting beats Dark, so I handicapped myself with my supreme levels of brain damage. Brain damage is becoming a theme in my videos. However, I couldn't stat check this one as fast because of one of its Pokemon being Leopard, which should be named Leopiss, has a charm stopping Ember from hitting it. I couldn't even make Ember bring out his inner crisp. I came up with a solution. I would sacrifice Among Us until it was low enough so I could one-shot it with a switch, or Among Us would just kind of win. I really didn't know Nintendo had a hidden fuck you mode in their games until I chose T-Pig. The amount of revives and medicine I used on my Pokemon should have made each one of their little hearts fail 9 times over, but we push on. Psychic was next. Oh, and Psychic was so much fun. Either I one-shot them, or they one-shot me and all of my Pokemon. I was lolling the whole time. Having a blast. This one was not the hardest one. And I swear, Psychic Pokemon are godless beings who only serve to destroy. This next section is why I chose to continue to play in the game. Normally, you would fight the champion and then get access to post-game content and then grind all of that. Not this game. The middle of the Elite Four area goes down, and we go down with it, and then we find the champion who got his ass beat by N. I mean, let's be honest here. It's a man with red hair, sick dad vibe, and sandals. First is God. He then gives some speech about saving Pokemon, and then another cool cutscene of a castle. Like, the graphics are, you know, clearly from a DS, but they have the presentation down. Also, good job so far, Nintendo. Very cool. We then go through this castle, and if you talk to the people there, they explain and elaborate on Team Plasma's history and the lore of the region and stories about the legendary Pokemon. This was completely optional, which is why I didn't talk to most of them. We then capture God, and I didn't even use a Master Ball. The last thing it seems to do is to beat N. And oh wait, once we beat N, I did not get wiped multiple times. It turns out that this evil grandpa dude was the evil grandpa dude the whole time. I love twist villains with zero build-up. I then beat the grandpa dude, and definitely have footage of, because I did not forget to record the last fight. That'd be so stupid. Yo, that's the end of the video. Really hope that you like the generic outro. 10 likes and I do the sequel. Goodbye and thank you for watching.